What happens when a prominent surgeon's wife gets arrested for DUI after hitting a school crossing guard and then stands in Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom and says, "My husband is chief of surgery at Rhode Island Hospital. He sits on the medical board that reviews judicial health records. I'd be very careful about how you handle this case." This 43-year-old woman is about to learn that threatening a federal judge with implied access to private medical information is not only criminal contempt, it's potentially witness intimidation, obstruction of justice, and a violation of HIPAA that could cost her husband his medical license. And when Judge Caprio calls her husband on speakerphone, the doctor's response will end her threats, possibly his career, and prove that some people value their Hippocratic oath more than their marriage. In the next 20 minutes, you're going to witness a threat backfire so spectacularly that it destroys 2 careers, 1 marriage, and the arrogance of someone who thought medical credentials were a weapon. Let us know where you're watching from, because what happens next will prove that threatening a judge with medical privacy violations isn't strategy. It's career suicide for everyone involved. February the 2nd, 2024, 9:30 a.m., Providence Municipal Court sits under February cold that makes the courthouse feel like it's carved from ice. Inside Courtroom 4, Judge Frank Caprio reviews a case that's already raising red flags throughout Rhode Island's legal and medical communities. Case number 2024, DUI 1494, State of Rhode Island vs. Dr. Vanessa Chen Morrison, DUI with injury, reckless driving, leaving the scene. And a prosecutor's note that reads, "Defendant is wife of Dr. James Morrison, chief of surgery at Rhode Island Hospital. Defense attorney has made repeated references to defendant's connections in the medical community. Recommend heightened awareness of potential intimidation tactics." Vanessa Morrison enters the courtroom at 9:47 a.m., 17 minutes late, and makes no apology. 43 years old, 5'6", wearing a designer navy St. John knit suit that costs $2,800, the kind of outfit wealthy doctors' wives wear to hospital fundraisers. Her auburn hair is professionally styled in a sleek bob that requires weekly $250 salon appointments. She carries a Gucci-structured handbag worth $3,400 and walks with the specific confidence of someone married to medical royalty for 19 years. But it's not just her expensive clothes that fill the courtroom with tension, it's the small details that signal her position. A Cartier tank watch, $7,000. A simple platinum wedding band with a 2-carat diamond, $25,000. And most telling, a hospital volunteer badge still clipped to her suit jacket. Rhode Island Hospital. Volunteer services. The badge that gets you into places most people can't go. The badge that says, "I belong here. I have access." Her attorney is Richard Dalton, 57 years old, senior, partner at a firm that specializes in medical malpractice defense. He doesn't usually handle DUIs. But Dr. James Morrison is an important client. He's been sued 3 times for malpractice, and Richard's firm successfully defended all 3 cases. Richard billing $850 per hour to handle a routine DUI signals that this defendant has resources and expects special treatment. Behind Vanessa sits her husband, Dr. James Morrison, 51 years old, chief of surgery at Rhode Island Hospital, the most prestigious medical position in the state. He's performed over 3 cardiac surgeries. He's published 47 peer-reviewed papers. He sits on the Rhode Island Medical Board, which oversees physician licensing, investigates complaints, and, critically, has access to confidential health information about physicians, judges, and other professionals during license renewal and fitness evaluations. Dr. Morrison sits with perfect posture, his expression carefully neutral. He's wearing surgical scrubs under a white coat, as if he came directly from the hospital, as if saving lives is so important he barely has time for this inconvenient legal matter. 3 weeks ago, on January 12, 2024, at exactly 7:52 a.m., Vanessa Morrison was driving her silver BMW X5, a $75,000 luxury SUV, through the streets of East Providence. She was heading to a morning yoga class at an exclusive studio where membership costs $3,200 per year. But before yoga, she'd stopped at home after a hospital fundraiser the previous evening that hadn't ended until 2:00 a.m. Security footage from the fundraiser shows Vanessa at the bar from 11:15 p.m. to 1:47 a.m. The bartender's statement, obtained by prosecutors, documents 7 glasses of wine consumed over 2.5 hours. Vanessa left the fundraiser with 3 other doctors' wives, all of them noticeably unsteady. Her friends called Ubers. Vanessa insisted she was fine to drive. She only lived 3 miles away. But Vanessa didn't go home. She went to an after-party at another doctor's house, where she consumed at least 2 more glasses of wine according to witness statements. She left that party at 6:30 a.m., drove home, changed clothes, and got back in her car to drive to yoga. She'd been awake for 24 hours. She'd consumed at least 9 glasses of wine over the past 8 hours, and she was about to drive through an active school zone. At 7:52 a.m., Vanessa was driving on Warren Avenue in East Providence, approaching Martin Middle School. Posted speed limit during school hours, 15 miles per hour. Traffic camera analysis shows Vanessa's BMW traveling at 37 miles per hour, nearly 2.5 times the limit, as children were arriving for school. At the crosswalk in front of the school, Agnes Martinez was helping students cross the street. 64 years old, a crossing guard for 11 years, beloved by every child at Martin Middle School. That morning, she was wearing her bright yellow safety vest and holding her stop sign, helping a group of 6 children, ages 11 to 13, cross safely. Security footage from the school's entrance camera captures everything with devastating clarity. Timestamp 7:52:17 a.m. Vanessa's BMW approaches the crosswalk at 37 miles per hour. Agnes is standing in the crosswalk, her stop sign raised, 6 children clustered behind her waiting their turn to cross. The BMW's brake lights don't illuminate until she's less than 20 feet from Agnes. Too late. Physics is unforgiving. Fight of 200 pounds traveling at 37 miles per hour. Agnes sees it coming. She pushes 2 children backward, saving their lives. Then, the BMW hits her. Agnes Martinez is thrown 15 feet. She lands on the hood of a parked car, then rolls to the pavement. The medical report documents catastrophic injuries: shattered right hip, broken pelvis, compound fracture of the left tibia, 3 broken ribs, punctured lung, severe concussion, and spinal damage that will require 3 surgeries and likely leave her with chronic pain for the rest of her life. The 6 children Agnes was protecting are physically unharmed because she pushed them out of the way. But they watched their crossing guard get hit by a car. They heard the impact. They saw her body fly through the air. 4 of them will be diagnosed with PTSD. 2 will require months of therapy. All of them will have nightmares. Vanessa's BMW sustains $14,000 in damage, crumpled front bumper, shattered windshield, deployed airbags. But Vanessa herself has only minor bruising from the seatbelt. And instead of stopping, instead of calling 911, instead of checking if Agnes is alive, Vanessa does something that transforms this from a tragic accident into something criminal. She reverses. Security footage shows her BMW backing up approximately 30 feet. Then, she drives forward, steering around Agnes's body still lying in the crosswalk, and accelerates away. She leaves the scene. She leaves Agnes bleeding. She leaves 6 traumatized children crying and screaming. And she drives directly to her yoga class, arriving at 8:04 a.m., 12 minutes after hitting Agnes. Witnesses call 911 at 7:53 a.m. Agnes is unconscious. She's not breathing properly. A teacher with EMT training begins first aid. Ambulance arrives at 7:58 a.m. Agnes's blood pressure is dangerously low. She's rushed to Rhode Island Hospital, ironically, the hospital where Vanessa's husband is chief of surgery. East Providence police identify Vanessa's vehicle through license plate records from traffic cameras. Officer Daniel Santos arrives at the yoga studio at 8:47 a.m. His body camera captures Vanessa mid-downward dog pose, mat laid out, wearing a $180 Lululemon outfit, completely composed. "Mrs. Morrison, I need you to step outside." Vanessa stands slowly, grabbing her water bottle. "Is there a problem, officer?" "Your vehicle was involved in a hit-and-run accident this morning. A woman was seriously injured." "I don't know what you're talking about. My car is fine." "Ma'am, your BMW X5 with license plate," Officer Santos reads the number, "was captured on camera hitting a crossing guard at Martin Middle School approximately 50 minutes ago." Vanessa's expression doesn't change. "That's impossible. I've been here since 7:30. Ma'am, we have you on camera leaving the scene at 7:52. Then your camera is wrong. Perhaps you should spend more time investigating actual crimes instead of harassing people at yoga class. Do you know who my husband is? Officer Santos arrests Vanessa at 8:52 a.m. The blood draw administered at 10:17 a.m., 2 hours and 25 minutes after the accident, shows a BAC of 0.09, just over Rhode Island's legal limit of 0.08. But blood alcohol drops at approximately 0.15 per hour. 2.5 hours earlier, Vanessa's BAC was estimated at 0.13 to 0.1, nearly twice the legal limit. She was drunk. She hit a crossing guard so hard it will permanently disable her. She drove away while children watched, and then she went to yoga class and claimed it never happened. Judge Caprio enters the courtroom. Everyone stands. Vanessa stands slowly, checking her watch like she has somewhere more important to be. Judge Caprio takes his seat and reviews the file in heavy silence. Finally, he removes his glasses, that signature gesture, and looks at Vanessa. Mrs. Morrison, do you understand the charges against you? Richard Dalton stands smoothly. Your Honor, Richard Dalton for the defense. My client understands the charges, but we have significant concerns about the reliability of the traffic camera footage and the timing of the blood draw that warrant. Mr. Dalton, I asked your client. Vanessa stands, smoothing her $2,800 suit. Your Honor, I understand that I've been accused of something I didn't do. This entire case appears to be based on circumstantial evidence and questionable identification procedures. My attorney has documented multiple inconsistencies that suggest... Mrs. Morrison, the question was whether you understand the charges, not whether you agree with them. Do you understand you're charged with DUI, reckless driving, hit and run with serious bodily injury, and leaving the scene of an accident? I understand those are the accusations, yes, but I also understand that accusations aren't convictions. Judge Caprio leans forward slightly. Mrs. Morrison, Agnes Martinez spent 17 days in the hospital. She's had 2 surgeries with a 3rd scheduled. She'll likely never work again. Do those facts concern you? Your Honor, if someone was injured, that's unfortunate. But being in the wrongs at the wrong time doesn't make me responsible for someone else's injuries. The courtroom goes silent. Judge Caprio's expression doesn't change, but something shifts in his eyes. Let's review the evidence. The prosecutor, Sarah Chen, presents the case with surgical precision, school security footage, showing the impact. Agnes Martinez's body flying through the air, children screaming, traffic camera footage showing Vanessa's BMW reversing, then driving around Agnes's body, yoga studio sign-in records showing Vanessa arrived at 8:04 a.m., 12 minutes after the accident. The bartender's statement documenting 9 glasses of wine, blood alcohol analysis showing she was likely at 0.30 to 0.15 at impact. Throughout the presentation, Vanessa sits with her arms crossed, occasionally whispering to her attorney. When the school security footage plays, the moment Agnes pushes 2 children out of the way before being hit, several people in the gallery gasp. Vanessa checks her phone. Judge Caprio notices. Mrs. Morrison, put your phone away. Vanessa pockets the phone without looking up. Your Honor, I'm expecting an important call from the hospital. My husband is in surgery. Your husband's surgery can wait. Agnes Martinez nearly died. Look at the screen. Vanessa glances at the monitor showing Agnes in the hospital, then looks away. Agnes is wheeled into the courtroom. She's in a wheelchair, her right leg in a full brace, moving with visible pain. Her daughter, Rosa, pushes her. Agnes has lost 27 pounds since the accident. Her face is gaunt. Her hands shake from nerve damage. If you're not subscribed, hit that button right now, because what happens next will show you exactly what happens when someone threatens a judge with medical privacy violations and discovers that doctors value their oaths more than their marriages. Your Honor, Agnes says, her voice weaker than it was, I was a crossing guard for 11 years. Every morning I helped children cross safely. That morning, I saw Mrs. Morrison's car coming too fast. I knew she wasn't going to stop. I pushed 2 children backward. They lived because I did that. But then her car hit me, and I don't remember anything after that until I woke up in the hospital 3 days later. Agnes's voice breaks. I have 3 grandchildren. I used to babysit them every Tuesday and Thursday. Now I can't pick them up. I can't play with them. I can barely walk. And Mrs. Morrison drove to yoga class like I was just an inconvenience in her day. Rosa, Agnes's daughter, speaks next. Your Honor, My mother saved children's lives that morning. 2 kids would have been killed if she hadn't pushed them back. She's a hero, and Mrs. Morrison treated her like roadkill. Vanessa whispers something to her attorney. He shakes his head firmly, but she insists. Richard Dalton stands reluctantly. Your Honor, while my client sympathizes with Mrs. Martinez's situation, we must point out that Mrs. Martinez was standing in an active roadway during low-visibility morning hours. Her own positioning contributed to— Mr. Dalton, Judge Caprio's voice is ice. Your client hit a crossing guard wearing a bright yellow vest holding a stop sign in a marked crosswalk in a school zone. What part of that suggests Mrs. Martinez's positioning was the problem? I'm simply noting that shared responsibility. Your client was driving drunk at 37 miles per hour in a 15-mile-per-hour school zone. That's not shared responsibility. That's criminal negligence. Vanessa stands suddenly, without being called on. Your Honor, I'd like to address the court. Richard Dalton grabs her arm. Vanessa, don't— She shakes him off. Your Honor, I think there's been a fundamental misunderstanding about the nature of this case. My husband is Dr. James Morrison, Chief of Surgery at Rhode Island Hospital. He sits on the Rhode Island Medical Board. I'm sure you're aware that the medical board reviews confidential health information during physician licensing renewals, and judges are required to undergo fitness evaluations, just like physicians. The courtroom goes completely silent. Judge Caprio stares at her. Mrs. Morrison, what exactly are you suggesting? I'm simply noting that my husband has access to information that might be relevant to various professionals' ability to perform their duties. I'm sure you understand that it would be unfortunate if concerns about judicial fitness were raised during routine medical board reviews. These things can become quite public, quite damaging to reputations. Richard Dalton has gone pale. Your Honor, my client is not— Your client just threatened a sitting judge with implied access to confidential medical records. Judge Caprio's voice is quiet, but it fills the courtroom. Mrs. Morrison, do you understand what you just did? Vanessa's confidence falters slightly. I'm not threatening anyone. I'm simply reminding the court that my husband holds a position that gives him access to protected health information under HIPAA. And you just threatened to use that access, or threatened that he would use that access, to influence my ruling. That's not only criminal contempt of court, that's witness intimidation, that's potentially obstruction of justice. And if your husband actually acted on that threat, it would be a HIPAA violation that would cost him his medical license. I didn't threaten anything. I was simply— Bailiff, contact the Rhode Island Medical Board and the Department of Health. Mrs. Morrison has just made statements suggesting improper use of confidential medical information to influence judicial proceedings. And get me Dr. James Morrison on the phone, now. The courtroom erupts. Vanessa goes white. Richard Dalton is frantically pulling out his phone. Dr. Morrison, sitting in the gallery, stands slowly, his face ashen. The bailiff makes the call. Dr. James Morrison's cell phone rings. He answers, knowing everyone can hear. Yes? Dr. Morrison, this is Judge Frank Caprio. Your wife is in my courtroom facing DUI and hit-and-run charges. Approximately 2 minutes ago, she suggested that you, in your capacity on the Rhode Island Medical Board, might use confidential health information to influence my ruling. Did you instruct her to make that statement? Silence. When Dr. Morrison speaks, his voice is shaking. She said, "What?" Judge Caprio repeats Vanessa's statement verbatim. The courtroom hears Dr. Morrison's sharp intake of breath through the speaker. "Oh my God, Your Honor, I need to speak to my wife immediately." "She's here. I'll put her on." Vanessa approaches the bench, her hands trembling. "James, I was just trying to— Vanessa, did you tell Judge Caprio that I would use medical board information to influence his ruling?" "I didn't say that exactly. I just reminded him that you have access to— Vanessa, did you threaten a judge using my medical board position?" Dr. Morrison's voice cracks through the speaker, making everyone flinch. Vanessa is crying now. "I was trying to help. You always say we need to use every advantage we have. You always say connections are what matter. I say that about medical conferences and networking, Vanessa, not about threatening judges with HIPAA violations." "But you're on the medical board. I could what? Illegally access a judge's private health information? Violate federal privacy laws? Commit professional misconduct that would end my career? Is that what you think I would do?" The courtroom is dead silent except for Vanessa's sobbing. Dr. Morrison continues, his voice heavy with devastation. Judge Caprio, I need to make something absolutely clear to this court, to the medical board, to every physician in Rhode Island, and to my wife. I have never, and would never, use my position on the medical board to access confidential information for personal benefit or to influence legal proceedings. The suggestion that I would violate HIPAA and abuse my position is offensive to everything I've built my career on. He pauses, and when he continues, his voice is quieter but firm. Furthermore, effective immediately, I'm resigning from the Rhode Island Medical Board, not because I've done anything wrong, but because my wife just created the appearance of impropriety that makes my continued service impossible. I cannot maintain the integrity of that position while my wife is making threats in my name. Vanessa sobs openly. James, no, you can't. Vanessa, what you did could cost me my medical license. Do you understand that? Threatening to misuse confidential health information, even the suggestion of it, is grounds for medical board investigation, professional discipline, and potentially criminal charges. You just tried to weaponize my oath. I was trying to protect us. You were. Trying to corrupt the judicial system using a position I've held with honor for 7 years. There's no us in that, Vanessa. There's just you, thinking you're above the law because you married a doctor. Judge Caprio interjects. Dr. Morrison, I appreciate your statement, but I need to be clear. This court will be reporting this incident to the Rhode Island Medical Board, the Department of Health, and potentially the FBI for investigation of witness intimidation and obstruction of justice. I understand, Your Honor. Whatever investigation is necessary, I'll cooperate fully. My wife made these statements without my knowledge or consent, but she made them using my position, so I bear some responsibility for not making clear to her that my medical board service is sacred trust, not a tool for personal advantage. Dr. Morrison, I have one more question. Your wife faces serious charges, DUI, hit and run, leaving a woman permanently disabled. What is your position on her accountability? The line is quiet for a long moment. When Dr. Morrison speaks, his voice is thick with emotion but unwavering. Judge Caprio, I took an oath to first do no harm. My wife did tremendous harm to Agnes Martinez, to those children, to the integrity of the judicial system, and to my profession. Whatever sentence you determine appropriate, I support it fully. I will not use my position or my resources to shield her from consequences. She needs to face what she's done. Vanessa collapses, sobbing. James, please, you can't abandon me. I'm not abandoning you, Vanessa. I'm refusing to enable you. There's a difference. I love you, but I can't protect you from this. I won't. The line goes dead. Judge Caprio gives Vanessa a moment to compose herself. When he speaks, his voice carries the weight of 35 years on the bench. Vanessa Morrison, you are convicted of DUI with serious bodily injury. You are convicted of reckless driving in a school zone. You are convicted of hit and run, leaving a victim permanently disabled. And you are charged with criminal contempt of court and attempted obstruction of justice for threatening this court with implied misuse of confidential medical information. For the DUI, you are fined $15,000. Your license is suspended for 8 years. You will serve 12 months in state prison. For reckless driving in a school zone with injury, an additional fine of $10,000, an additional 6 months in prison consecutive. For hit and run, an additional fine of $15,000, an additional 6 months in prison consecutive. Total fines, $40,000, total prison time, 24 months, no early release. For criminal contempt and attempted obstruction, an additional 30 days in jail consecutive. An additional fine of $5,000. Total sentence, 25 months incarceration. Total fines, $45,000. You will pay $400,000 in restitution to Agnes Martinez for medical expenses, lost income, and lifetime care needs. You will complete 1,500 hours of community service upon release, working specifically with school crossing guards and traffic safety programs, learning the work Agnes Martinez did before you destroyed her ability to do it. You will attend victim impact panels monthly for 3 years, and you will write formal letters of apology to Agnes Martinez, to the 6 children who witnessed the accident, to your husband for misusing his position, and to this court for your threats. Richard Dalton stands, Your Honor, 25 months for a first offense. This isn't just a DUI, Mr. Dalton. Your client hit a woman in a school zone, fled the scene, lied about it, and then threatened a judge with medical privacy violations. 25 months is generous. The sentence stands. The video of Vanessa's threat goes viral within hours, not because someone leaked it, because Dr. James Morrison releases his resignation letter from the medical board publicly that same afternoon. My wife made statements suggesting I would misuse confidential medical information to influence legal proceedings, he writes. I would never do such a thing. But the mere suggestion creates an appearance of impropriety that makes my continued service impossible. I'm resigning from the medical board effective immediately. The medical community's response is swift. Dr. Morrison's integrity is praised, but his association with his wife's threats damages him nonetheless. 3 hospitals where he held surgical privileges launch investigations. Rhode Island Hospital places him on administrative leave pending review. Vanessa serves her 25 months. Her cellmate is a woman serving 3 years for embezzlement. The first 6 months, Vanessa insists the sentence was unfair, that the judge was biased, that her husband should have protected her. Slowly, reality sets in. Dr. Morrison files for divorce 8 months into her sentence. He doesn't visit. He doesn't write. He sends divorce papers in a letter. I can't be married to someone who thought threatening a judge with medical privacy violations was acceptable. You weaponized my life's work. I can't forgive that. When Vanessa is released, she's 45 years old with a felony record. Her medical community social circle has vanished. Nobody wants to associate with the woman whose threats nearly destroyed a surgeon's career. She lives in a small apartment, works as a medical billing clerk for $38,000 a year. She begins her community service working with the East Providence Crossing Guard program. Agnes Martinez, now 66 and still in chronic pain, occasionally supervises volunteers. The first time they meet, 18 months after the accident, Agnes looks at her for a long moment. Mrs. Morrison, Mrs. Martinez, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for what I did to you. Agnes nods slowly. I know. I read your letter. Your husband read it to me in the hospital. He did? He came to visit me 3 times after the accident, brought flowers, apologized for what you did. He's a good man. He divorced me. I know. I read about it. That must be hard. Vanessa's eyes fill with tears. I destroyed everything. Your life, his career, my marriage. All because I thought we were special, that rules didn't apply to us. Agnes touches her wheelchair. This is my life now, but those 2 children I pushed out of the way, they're alive. They're thriving. One of them wants to be a crossing guard when she grows up because of me. So something good came from something terrible. Maybe something good can come from you too. If you let it. 3 years after her release, Vanessa completes her POD 500 hours. The Crossing Guard program offers her a paid position as a training coordinator, $42,000 a year. She takes it. Dr. Morrison is eventually cleared by Rhode Island Hospital after a 6-month investigation finds no evidence he ever misused medical board information. But the damage to his reputation persists. He steps down as chief of surgery. He still operates, but the trajectory of his career is forever altered. 5 years after the trial, Vanessa attends a traffic safety conference. Agnes is there, presenting on school zone safety. They sit together at lunch. Your husband is getting remarried, Agnes says. I saw it in the paper. I know. I'm happy for him. Are you? Vanessa thinks about it. Yes, actually, I am. He deserves someone who won't use him as a weapon, who won't think his oath is a tool. What will you do? Keep showing up. Keep helping. Keep trying to be someone I wasn't before. Agnes nods. That's all any of us can do. It's not forgiveness. It's not reconciliation, but it's something that looks like peace. Don't forget to subscribe for more courtroom justice stories where entitled defendants learn that medical credentials don't exempt you from consequences, and threatening a judge with privacy violations destroys everyone involved. Hit that like button if you believe Judge Caprio handled the threat appropriately. Drop a comment about whether 25 months was too harsh, too lenient, or exactly right for someone who threatened a judge using her husband's medical board position. This courtroom taught us that some positions carry sacred responsibilities that cannot be weaponized, that threatening judges backfires spectacularly, and that sometimes the people who love us most refuse to enable our worst impulses, even when it costs them everything.